The snow had been falling since late afternoon, covering the wide Montana plains in thick white silence. Christmas night had arrived quietly, wrapping the land in cold and darkness. William Harper, one of the richest ranchers in the county, guided his horse slowly along the familiar trail leading back to his ranch. His land stretched for miles, strong fences, healthy cattle, and a grand farmhouse that stood alone against the winter sky. Yet despite all his wealth, William felt no joy that night. Christmas had always reminded him of what he lacked: family. The wind cut sharply through the air, forcing William to pull his coat tighter around his broad shoulders. As he neared the edge of his property, something unusual caught his eye near an old broken fence. At first, he thought it was an animal huddled against the cold. But as he moved closer, his heart skipped a beat. It was a girl, small, thin, and shaking uncontrollably. William quickly dismounted and rushed toward her. She couldn't have been more than 14 or 15 years old. Her hair was tangled, her dress torn, and her bare feet were red and cracked from the freezing snow. She hugged her knees tightly, trying to hold onto what little warmth she had left. Her lips were pale, and her eyes were dull with exhaustion and fear. "Hey, are you all right?" William asked gently, though he knew the answer. The girl looked up slowly, startled by his voice. Fear flashed across her face, and she tried to move away, but her body was too weak. She didn't speak. Her teeth chattered, and her hands trembled violently. William felt a deep ache in his chest. He had seen hardship before, but never like this, never on Christmas night. He removed his thick wool coat and wrapped it carefully around her fragile shoulders. She flinched at first, then slowly relaxed as warmth touched her skin. "You'll freeze to death out here," he said softly. "Come with me. I won't hurt you." She hesitated, her eyes searching his face, as if looking for a lie. But all she saw was concern. Finally, she nodded weakly. William lifted her carefully, surprised by how light she was, and carried her to his horse. He placed her securely in front of him and guided the horse toward the ranch. The wind howled louder, but William urged the horse forward, his thoughts racing. Who was she? How did she end up here? And why, on Christmas of all nights? As the lights of the farmhouse came into view, a strange warmth filled William's heart. The house that had always felt empty suddenly had purpose. He didn't know it yet, but this moment, this single act of kindness, was about to change his life forever. Behind him, the snow continued to fall, erasing the lonely footprints the girl had left behind, as if the night itself was giving her a second chance. The moment William pushed open the heavy wooden door, warmth rushed out to meet them. The crackling fireplace filled the large living room with golden light, a sharp contrast to the freezing darkness outside. William gently helped the girl down from the horse and guided her inside. Her steps were unsteady, and she leaned on him for support. Snow melted from her hair and clothes, forming small puddles on the floor. "Sit here," William said softly, leading her toward the fireplace. He placed her on a cushioned chair and knelt in front of her, carefully removing her frozen scarf. Her skin felt ice cold to the touch. Without wasting time, he added more logs to the fire and moved closer so she could feel the heat. William went into the kitchen and returned with a bowl of hot soup and a mug of warm milk. He placed them in her trembling hands. Slowly, he advised, "You're safe now." The girl took a small sip, then another. Color slowly returned to her face as warmth spread through her body. Tears welled up in her eyes, not from pain, but from relief. For the first time in days, maybe weeks, she felt human again. "My name is Lily," she whispered after a long silence. "I'm William," he replied with a gentle smile. "You don't have to be afraid here." As the fire burned steadily, Lily began to speak in broken sentences. She told him her parents had died the previous year after a long illness. Since then, she had been living with distant relatives who never wanted her. They treated her as a burden, forcing her to work without care or kindness. When Christmas approached, they told her to leave. They said they couldn't afford to feed another mouth. William listened quietly, his fists tightening at his sides. Anger and sorrow twisted in his chest. No child should ever be thrown out like that, especially on Christmas. After Lily finished eating, William brought her a set of clean clothes and a thick blanket. "There's a bathroom down the hall," he said respectfully. "Take your time." When Lily returned, her hair was clean, and her face looked younger, softer. She wrapped herself tightly in the blanket, still unsure if this kindness was real or just a dream. William showed her a small guest room with a neatly made bed and fresh sheets. "You can sleep here tonight," he said. "Nothing will harm you under this roof." As Lily lay down, the weight of exhaustion finally overcame her. Her eyes closed almost instantly. William stood quietly at the doorway, watching her breathe steadily. A deep sense of responsibility settled over him. That night, as the wind howled outside and snow piled against the windows, William sat alone by the fire. For the first time in many years, the house no longer felt empty. He didn't know what the future would bring, but one thing was clear: Christmas had brought someone into his life who needed him, and he would not turn away. Morning light slowly filtered through the frost-covered windows, painting the ranch house in soft shades of silver and gold. The storm had passed, leaving the world outside quiet and shining. Christmas morning had arrived. William woke early, as he always did, but this time something felt different. The house no longer echoed with loneliness. There was another presence, small but meaningful, under his roof. He moved quietly through the kitchen, preparing breakfast. The smell of fresh bread, eggs, and coffee filled the air. As he worked, his thoughts kept returning to the girl sleeping down the hall. He wondered what life had done to her to leave her so afraid and alone. When everything was ready, he placed a small wrapped package on the table. It wasn't expensive, just a scarf, gloves, and a pair of sturdy boots he had once bought for a ranch hand, but it felt important. Lily woke to the warmth of the room and the unfamiliar scent of food. For a moment, panic rose in her chest, and she wondered if she was still outside in the snow. Then she remembered the fire, the blanket, and the man with kind eyes. Slowly, she stepped into the hallway and followed the smell to the kitchen. "Merry Christmas," William said, turning and smiling when he saw her. No one had said those words to Lily in a long time. She nodded shyly and whispered them back. William gestured for her to sit, and they ate together in comfortable silence. Every bite felt like a gift. After breakfast, William slid the small package across the table. "This is for you," he said. Lily stared at it, confused. "For me?" He nodded. "Go on." With shaking hands, she opened it. When she saw the warm clothes inside, her eyes filled with tears. She pressed the scarf to her chest, overwhelmed by a kindness she did not know how to repay. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice breaking. Later, William showed Lily around the ranch. The animals moved calmly through the snowy fields, and the barn stood strong against the winter cold. Lily helped feed the chickens and brushed one of the horses, laughing softly when it nudged her shoulder. It was the first time William had heard laughter in months. As the day passed, Lily grew more comfortable. She asked questions, listened closely, and offered help without being asked. William noticed how carefully she moved, as if she feared doing something wrong. It reminded him how deeply her past had hurt her. That evening, as they sat by the fire again, William made a quiet decision. He would not send her away. Not tomorrow. Not ever, if he could help it. The ranch had plenty of room, and his heart, he realized, had been empty for too long. Outside, church bells rang in the distance, marking Christmas night. Inside the ranch house, something new was being born, not just hope for Lily, but a family for William. The days after Christmas passed gently, each one bringing a quiet change to the ranch. Snow still covered the fields, but inside the house, warmth and routine began to grow. Lily slowly settled into life on the ranch, waking early with William and helping wherever she could. She fed the animals, swept the floors, and learned the simple rhythms of ranch life. For the first time, she was not treated as a burden but as someone who mattered. William noticed the changes in her almost immediately. The fear in her eyes slowly faded, replaced by curiosity and small, careful smiles. She ate better, slept deeper, and no longer startled at every sound. In return, the ranch itself seemed to come alive. The house echoed with footsteps and soft conversation instead of silence. Even William's long evenings felt shorter. One afternoon, William took Lily into town. The small community was preparing for the new year, and neighbors greeted William warmly. When they noticed Lily walking beside him, wrapped in a warm coat, they smiled kindly. Some asked gentle questions, but William simply said she was staying with him. There was no shame or hesitation in his voice. That day, he enrolled her in the local school, buying her books and supplies. Lily held them carefully, as if they were treasures. School was not easy at first. Lily was shy and quiet, but her teachers were patient, and the other children slowly accepted her. Every afternoon, she returned to the ranch with stories of what she had learned. William listened closely, proud in a way he had never felt before. As weeks turned into months, a bond grew between them, strong and unspoken. William taught Lily how to ride a horse, how to care for the land, and how to stand tall without fear. Lily, in her own way, taught William how to laugh again, how to celebrate small moments, and how to open his heart. One evening, as they sat by the fire watching the flames dance, Lily spoke softly. "Do you think I could stay here? Always?" William looked at her, truly looked at her, and felt the answer rise from deep within him. "This is your home," he said. "As long as you want it to be." Tears rolled down Lily's cheeks, but this time they were tears of joy. She moved closer, and William placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. In that moment, neither of them felt alone anymore. The ranch that once belonged to a rich but lonely man had become something far greater, a home filled with love, hope, and second chances. All because, on one cold Christmas night, kindness had been chosen over indifference. And that simple choice had changed two lives forever.